All right, we should be live, and we are talking about building an opening repertoire today. So let's see who's in the chat so far. Put your first name in the chat. It's going to be a very interactive lesson, just like our prior lessons. So I would like you guys to use that chat box in YouTube. So put your name in the chat. Maybe put where you're from. It's always nice to see where audience is watching from. And we'll just have a couple questions before we get started as people start coming in. Hey, Matt, welcome. Rochester, Minnesota. Nice. We have 2 Matts from Rochester, Minnesota. We have Chris from Kansas City. Reg Dog is back. Welcome. I don't know, Reg Dog, if you're saying hey up or if you're saying hey UP, like Upper Peninsula. Dick from North Shore of Boston, welcome. Soul is here, hello. Reg Dog, just hello, welcome. I don't know if the email got out to everyone this morning. I sent it the same way in MailChimp, but I noticed the open rate was a lot lower than last week's live stream. So I'm not sure if I just copied the template too closely and then maybe it got flagged as not a unique email. All right, so if you're just coming in, welcome. It's going to be an interactive lesson on building an opening repertoire. Okay, here's the next question for the chat while we wait for a few more people to come in. What is your favorite opening with the black pieces? Which opening do you like the best? Currently, I think my favorite's the Caro-Kann, but it goes in streaks. For a while, it was Caro-Kann, and then for a while, it was the Benko, Sicilian Taimanov for a bit. Okay, Pushkar is saying Sicilian. Chris is saying Caro. It was interesting. I ran a poll in that survey that we did for this live stream, and I asked people which opening repertoires they want to see from the ChessGoals courses. Sicilian was off to a very quick head start for a defense against 1e4. But then Caro passed it and just ran away with that poll. Over 50% said Caro in the end. Oh, nice. Taimanov Sicilian. Cool. All right, let's get started. So, build your opening repertoire. Here's what we're going to talk about today. You're going to learn how to build a personalized opening repertoire. So this could be either something that you just start completely from scratch, or maybe you base it off of ChessGoals course, an opening book, Chessable course, etc. And then we're going to talk about the ChessGoals 5-step learning system. So I did some research and I tried to break down exactly how I think you guys should study openings in the most efficient way. And I put this into a 5-step learning system. We're going to talk about when and how to use a combination of videos, PGNs, and playing games. So it's kind of a delicate balance because you want to learn your openings, but you also want to apply what you're learning. And you want to kind of mix how many moves you've memorized with how well you understand those positions out of your openings. It's not all just about memorizing, and it's not all just about watching your video or reading your opening book. We're going to talk about how to balance those different aspects. And then we do have some free downloads and an exclusive bonus offer today. All right, I'm seeing a couple other answers, Sicilian Nydorf and Grunfeld. Nice. Okay, so now when you see a question below my face, below the webcam, put your answer right into the chat on YouTube. And if you're watching this when it's eventually in a course, you can use the discussion box, which is going to be in the upper right-hand corner. You can put your answers in that discussion box and see what other students are answering. So for YouTube, put it right in the chat. So what do you think the most confusing part about learning openings is? That's the question for the chat. And then we're going to talk about why most opening plans fail. So I think number one, too many lines. And this I probably should have put in size 100 font red text. This is the number one reason why opening plans fail. And this dates back prior to people studying chess on the internet. If you look at chess books, the amount of text and lines in a chess opening book is incredible. Even the most basic chess opening books have hundreds of lines. And if you get, for example, the Grandmaster Repertoire series, which is targeted towards players that are just like you and I, that are not chess professionals, those books are about this thick and there are thousands of lines. There is no way you're going to memorize all of that theory, and it doesn't even make sense to do so. And if you're a top professional, so say you're a top grandmaster, you may get some ideas from, let's say, that real thick Grandmaster Repertoire series. But the problem is, as soon as that book is published, that theory is already becoming outdated. People are going to find new ideas to build on that theory. So it really doesn't make sense to spend your time learning thousands of opening lines. You want to get that into the most manageable amount of lines possible that still gets you the best results. So too many lines, by far the number one reason that people fail with their opening plans. And then the second part of that bullet point is too fast or too quickly. So the other issue is you have this massive amount of theory and you try to cram it all right away before you get to apply any of it. If you don't apply any of that theory in your games, there's really no point in learning it. Even if you use spaced repetition on Chessable, let's say, and you memorize 1,000 lines, you're not really understanding those positions outside of just the pure memorization of clicking through those moves. So too many moves, too fast. That's the number one reason opening plans fail. And then number two is memorization without understanding. That's like the Chessable process. That's my biggest gripe about Chessable. And we're going to talk more about Chessable in depth in this course, in this live class. But you want to make sure you understand your opening lines. And then number three is no feedback from your own games. So if you think about how many lines you know, and it's probably hard to quantify, but let's just say you know 300 lines. How many games is it going to take you to even see half of those lines you learned? Thousands of games, right? So a lot of the theory that you learn, you will never see in any of your games, which is pretty crazy. But then there's going to be some lines that you just tend to see over and over and over, whether it's just been the most popular line for a while, or maybe there was a YouTube video that came out and people are copying the YouTube video. But really, you need that feedback from your own games to keep reinforcing what you've learned. Okay, let's see what the chat is saying. Most confusing part about learning openings, Matt is saying there are too many choices. And Regdog is saying too many YouTube videos tempting you to jump to the next opening. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so now let's jump into the 5-step ChessGoals system. And let me know in the chat question below, do you have a consistent repertoire for white and for black currently? Okay, step number 1. This is the obvious one. Learn the first moves. And you might be thinking, why doesn't it just say learn the moves? Well, when I was going through some preparation for this class, what I did was I took 3 of our ChessGoals courses, the 3 most popular. So it's the Caro, the Dynamic Slav, and 1E4 for white. And those were the top voted upon repertoires in that Google form that I sent out. And I made opening files that just contain the starter moves for every one of the chapters. So if a course has 10 chapters, I would just put somewhere between 4 and 6 moves, and that's it. those are the first moves that you just need to learn. So if it's a brand new opening, just look at 4, 6 moves deep, wherever those main branching points are, and do that for your 10 different chapters within your opening. That's number 1. Then you can already jump into some practice games and just get a feel for it. So before you even really go deep in the theory, start playing some practice games and just see what you think of that type of setup. And you're going to make wild mistakes early on, but that's completely okay. You're going to learn from those mistakes. Number 3, review key traps and ideas in that opening system. Number 4, you're going to watch the full videos if it's a video course. And if this is a ChessGoals course, a lot of these videos are about 45 minutes. And you can either binge watch them as if it's some sort of Netflix series, or you can do the just-in-time approach, which we're going to talk about coming up. And then number 5 is refine and expand your repertoire. This is an important one. This is something where you guys can learn how to change an opening repertoire on your own. So don't just rely on what's published. Tweak things as you go. And this is also one of the things that I think is kind of an issue with Chessable. It encourages you to just have this very static repertoire. The repertoire never changes at all. What I want you guys to do, and we're going to go through this, is I want you guys to figure out how to enter your moves into a database and then tweak those moves so you can make adjustments and play positions that you feel comfortable with. So you might say, hey, this dynamic Slav course from ChessGoals, I really don't like this one branching variation in chapter 5. And maybe it's half of chapter 5. You just don't like those positions. You can refine that repertoire to go with a different move, but you're still going to rely on your understanding from the rest of the course and all of your thoughts and tricks and traps that you've learned by playing those games online. So we're going to talk about how to refine and expand your repertoire. Okay, let's see what the chat is saying. Matt's saying consistently tries to do the basics of development and recognizing the openings being used. Yeah, that's good. And that's something where even when I was first hitting a rating of 2000, I knew my own openings. I didn't know a lot of the other openings. So for example, I didn't play 1d4 as white. I didn't really know what a Nimzo Indian was versus a Queen's Indian. Like I kind of knew the setups, but I didn't have the full knowledge to say, oh, this looks like it's a Benoni structure. Because if I didn't play the Benoni for either color, I really had no idea what it was. But I think it is good to sort of just be aware of what each opening is and what the structures look like. And that'll come with practice. Okay, so step 1, we're going to break into 1A and 1B. 1A, learn the first moves. So this is that first 3 to 5 moves in each line. And I've created starter repertoire files. This is brand new. As of like the last 48 hours, there are starter repertoire files for the 3 ChessGoals courses over here on the right. 1E4 for white, the Caro-Kann, and the dynamic Slav. And then I want you guys to first just focus on the core moves without going down any of the branches yet. So now, question for the chat, which repertoire lines will you start with? Are you going to do one of the ChessGoals courses, whether it's one of these 3 over on the left, or do you have another opening resource? So put your answers in the chat. And if you're watching this in the course, kind of think about it or put it in the discussion box. Okay, Matt is saying the 1E4 course. I think I'm going to start with those 3, all 3 of them at the same time. And more ChessGoals content is coming out on those 3 courses in particular. Let me show them again. There's going to be a lot of YouTube content coming on E4, Caro-Kann, Dynamic Slav. These are the best-selling courses and the top vote getters. And I'm also working on other bonus content for the courses outside of just videos. For example, for the Caro-Kann course, I've been working on printable ECO tables. So those are tables where you have all the lines going down the rows and then the moves going across the columns. And you're able to actually just print it out on a sheet of paper and follow through the lines. So a lot of young chess players don't remember those books. The ECOs, and which is Encyclopedia of Chess Openings, and MCO, which is Modern Chess Openings, those had tables that you could actually use a physical piece of paper and go through and figure out the moves. So that's coming for all 3 of these courses. Step 1B, quick start intros. So right now, the Caro-Kann and the Dynamic Slav courses have quick start videos, and those are about 1 hour each. And what they do is they go through one long line of every one of the chapters. And what you can do with that is you can get a good sense to how to play each chapter in a very short amount of time. So for 1A, you're learning those core moves, about 3 to 5 moves per chapter. 1B, watch the quick start intro course. It only takes you 1 hour. That'll get you kind of the main ideas for each chapter. And for 1E4, right now we have a quick start PGN. You can use that to start with. But the other 2 have videos, the Caro and the Dynamic Slav. So question for the chat. Are you more of a video learner or a hands-on learner? Put your answers in the chat box. All right, and then we're going to move on to playing practice games. Regdog is saying definitely a video learner. Saul is saying hands-on. Matt is saying both. Dennis says video. And Grand Prix Chess Academy is saying French attack. Oh, this must be from the earlier question. Okay. So I'm kind of a mix of visual and hands-on learner, like Matt is saying. I need both. Chris is saying books and PGNs. Yeah, and feel free, guys, answer the question as soon as you see the slide pop up, because there is a little bit of a delay. So then I'll be able to see your answers before the next slide. Okay, step number 2, play practice games. So we are going to test out our lines, our opening lines, in rapid or blitz games. And that could be both rapid and blitz as well. The reason we're going to use rapid and blitz games is because you can get a lot of games in, and we're going to need a lot of games to practice all of our different opening lines. If you're just playing classical, you're not going to get enough reps in to test yourself on all these opening lines. Bullet point 2, note which lines show up most and where you get confused. This is very important. If there are certain lines that over and over you're getting confused or you feel uncomfortable, that's a sign. That's where you need to spend your time and really focus on those lines. And then number 3 is keep your starter file handy for updates. We're going to talk more about this, but this is how we're going to build out that tree. So it's going to start with a very small base, kind of the trunk of the tree, and then we're going to build out the branches. So it's all going to start from those starter files. So then the question for you guys, how often do you play games focused on practicing openings? So for me, if I'm playing 3+0, a lot of what I'm trying to do, 3+0 blitz, is I'm trying to get a lot of reps in, see a lot of different opening positions, and not only see which opening lines I have my moves memorized, so I'm kind of playing what moves that I plan to play, but I also want to realize which of those openings do I feel comfortable going into the middle game, and which of those openings do I hit move 12 or whatever it is and think, I have no clue what I'm doing here, because that's a position that I need extra practice in. If I'm reaching the middle game and I don't know what's going on, that's a bad sign. So Matt's saying not often enough for practicing openings in the games. All right, well, we're going to get you guys to practice your openings even more. Step number 3, review key traps and ideas. So I want you guys to study common tactical ideas in all of the opening lines. Understand the main plans, not only for your side, but also the opponent's side. And avoid the common beginner mistakes. So one thing that we do with the ChessGoals course is we base the lines on what you're most likely to see at club level play. So if there's a common mistake or a blunder that keeps occurring, we're going to show that because it's one of the common lines. And then if there's also some sort of trick or tactic that you should be aware of, we also try to show those, even if it's maybe not one of the 10 most popular lines. So try to have that mix of knowing the tricks, knowing the common mistakes, but then also just understanding overall what are the main plans for both sides. And we're going to use game review, which is in bold, use the game review to figure out those things above. So it doesn't have to be just based on what's in the video course, but you're going to see things as you play games. So do you currently review tactics related to your opening? That's the next question for you guys in the chat. Do you review tactics related to your openings? And one of the original courses that JD and I did was the Caro-Kann Tactics course. And I think that course took more man hours, more just raw amount of time and almost painfulness, I would say, to finish the course, because we hand chose all of those tactics. Like JD and I would get on Zoom calls and we would be going down lines, looking for tactics together. And it was a really long process, but I think it's one of our most underrated courses. It's all Caro-Kann tactics, and the lines either come exactly from our repertoire or are very similar positions. Like maybe JD and I tweaked a move or two to find a tactic that we liked. But we didn't just go look at some database of Caro-Kann tactics, for example. These were all as close as we could get to the repertoire and hand chosen to be good tactics that you guys will see in your games. But that's the kind of thing that really you should be doing on your own as well, is looking for those tactics in all of your openings. So Matt's saying not often for reviewing tactics. Dennis says no. Chris says sometimes. And Soul is saying yes. So we get a bit of a mix. Step number 4. This is the fun part. If you like entertainment, watch the full opening videos. So this is assuming that you're using a video course to learn your openings. For example, ChessGoals. But if you have a book, this would be read through full chapters. And there's a couple ways to do this. We have option A, just-in-time learning. So that's as you encounter lines over and over, then watch the full video. So for example, let's say you're playing the Caro-Kann and you're completely new to the Tartakower variation. If you keep seeing the Tartakower in your games and you feel like that's an area that you would really like to dive deep and expand your knowledge in the Tartakower, you are ready to watch that full video, that's a good sign. Watch the video. It's going to take you 45 minutes approximately. Go through all 10 of those lines with Jesse and I, and you're going to feel very comfortable after watching that video. And then when you go back to your games, and you're going to build your file that we're going to talk about coming up, you can start to expand the types of positions that you've seen in the Tartakower, and you're really going to become more comfortable in those lines. So that's option A. As you see things, just say, okay, this week, maybe on Monday, I'm going to jump into this chapter 2 video. Maybe next week on Wednesday, I'll jump into the chapter 5 video. You don't have to watch them in order. Just watch them based on what comes up in your games. Option B is you sit on the couch and you watch them all in a short period of time. Maybe every night, instead of playing games, you just say, hey, I'm going to watch Caro-Kann videos. Or you're using the treadmill and you have the TV in front of your treadmill and you just watch the Caro-Kann. For your 30 minutes every day on the treadmill, you're going to watch Caro-Kann, Caro-Kann, Caro-Kann. And in a week or two, you'll have all the videos watched. So that's the binge watching approach. I actually do like that approach a lot for myself, but I understand just-in-time learning too. And I think if your course is manageable enough, so the ChessGoals courses tend to be 6 or 7 hours of video for openings, that's not too bad to binge watch it. Usually you can get that done in a week or two. And then take notes. So if you're watching passively, that's okay. But if you can take notes or write down certain timestamps or positions to go back to, that'll help you understand the positions even more. Or follow along on a board, whether it's a physical board or let's say you have chess.com analysis board open or a Elite Chess Study. Enter the moves as you're watching. It's a great way to learn. For example, one thing I was reading recently, and this is not chess related, but one of the better ways to absorb information that you're learning from a book that you're reading is to listen to the audible, like the audio version of the book, while you're reading the book. Now, I know that requires purchasing 2 versions of a book or checking 2 versions out from the library, for example. But the point is, you're doing something with your eyes and you're doing something with your ears. Do that same thing with the opening. So don't just watch the video. Do something actively with those moves as well if you can. And that'll help you connect moves to plans and ideas. So now, question for the chat. Do you prefer binge watching or gradual learning, which is option A? You can put A or B. So A would be just-in-time learning or gradual learning. B would be binge watching. What do you prefer? So I know my answer. Let's see what you guys think. Okay, we have a bunch of people saying just-in-time. 4 just-in-times, 1 binge watching. Yeah, I think just-in-time is the more common approach. There's another binge watching from Mohammed. But binge watching, I think, is getting more popular probably just because people are so used to watching TV shows in a binge watching way. All right, step number 5, refine and expand. So I want you guys to keep working on your repertoire and think about it as going to a lab, right? You're in your lab, your opening lab. Your job is to explore things on your own. You're not just following what someone else says. You're diving deep. You're fully understanding all of your lines, all of your positions, and you're figuring out stuff on your own. This is really important. So when you're refining and expanding, I want you to revisit the tricky lines. That's extremely important. If it's a calm position and you're memorizing exactly what moves that ChessGoals tells you to play, that's not super important, right? Because it's a calm position. You might have 5 moves that all have the exact same eval. Maybe 3 or 4 of them are going to transpose into essentially the same positions. It doesn't matter which of those moves you pick. But the tricky lines, those are the ones where there's a tactic or a sacrifice, or maybe you have to walk a bit of a tightrope to get to the clear position. Those are ones you definitely want to review. Make sure you don't fall for those traps. And if you fall for a trap once, that's where you learn from it, right? That's a line you want to revisit. Next, add sidelines to your repertoire. This is going to be building out those branches in your tree. And then study deeper middle game ideas from the courses. So a good example of this for the Caro-Kann, we have the Caro-Kann middle games course. And that course has over 10 hours of video. JD and I went through 4 games for each chapter. So I think it's somewhere between 35 and 40 total games. And we walked through the whole game. And we really focused on the middle game chunk. So we kind of skip through the opening quickly and say, okay, this opening chunk comes from the ChessGoals Caro-Kann course. We go into the middle game. We talk about all the plans for each side. We look at common tactics. But that's something that I want you guys to do on your own as well. So when a game ends, if you have ChessBase or you have an online database, go look for games in those same lines. Look for ideas from strong players. And then in bold down here, Matt's favorite tip, and we talked about this a little bit on an earlier slide, make your weakest lines your new favorite lines. So if you have a line that you tend to struggle with over and over and over again, make that your new favorite line. Either completely scrap the line that you have and replace it with something that you like or that you hope you like, or probably even better, just really buckle down and learn that line so well that you're excited when you see it again over the board. There's no reason that you can't take lines that you don't like and learn to like them. Because chess is a game that's about pattern recognition. So if you can recognize new patterns and plans, that'll make you a lot more comfortable and you're going to get better results in those lines, and then you'll tend to like them. So, question for you guys below the webcam: what opening variation do you want to master next? So go a little bit deeper than just saying like Caro-Kann. Caro-Kann, exchange variation, advanced variation, fantasy variation. What opening variation do you want to master next? I want you guys to have something in mind. And this probably could be one where it's either a completely new opening, like, hey, I want to learn the Benko Gambit. Or it could be something like, I already play the Benko Gambit, but I have a lot of trouble when they decline the second pawn and play 5e3. And because I have a lot of trouble in the e3 line, I want to make that the next variation that I master. I want to get so good at 5e3, Benko declined, that my opponents will regret playing it. Okay, let's see what the answers are. Matt's saying don't know enough to answer that yet. Dennis is saying fantasy variation in the Caro-Kann. Oh, Sol is also saying Caro-Kann fantasy variation. Caro-Kann 2 knights from Chris. There's a Caro-Kann trend going. Caro-Kann dominated in that poll, by the way, for what to play against 1e4. Out of the ChessGoals options, Caro-Kann was around 53%, I believe. And there were 4 different options. So pretty impressive. Okay, next, Chessable. And I'm asking this question right off the bat. What do you guys think about Chessable? Have you tried it? Do you love it, hate it, or somewhere in between? Put your answers right in the YouTube chat. I feel like this could be a bit of a hot topic here. And there's a couple slides on it. And I'm going to go a bit deep into Chessable. So put your thoughts in the chat right now, and we're going to read them out. Okay, Matt is saying, I have an account for Chessable. Haven't tried it really. Dennis says, not for endgames. Have you guys seen Magnus Carlsen doing the 100 endgames you must know on Chessable with John Bartholomew? If you haven't, that's one worth looking at, because the frustration level that they're trying to hide while advertising that course is pretty entertaining. And I had the exact same experience with that course as well. There was an endgame position where it was like the bishop and pawn endgame, and the bishop has essentially like 6 moves that are all draw. And they just like go along the diagonal, draw, 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 draw. And it just kept repeating positions like that. And every time you entered the wrong move, the answer was incorrect. And then it would just like jump the bishop to the square that it thought was correct. And it was like the least satisfying experience ever, because there was no point in memorizing the exact square when there were 6 legal squares that were all a draw. So yeah, I agree. That's just not a good way to study your endgames. It's better to play it out against the engine once you learn it. Okay, Dick is saying, have not used Chessable. Soul loves the move trainer. Chris is saying Chessable takes over an hour for just 1 line. Regdog is saying biased audience for the Caro-Kann, I think. Yeah, that's true, Regdog. And Dennis saw that video with Magnus. Okay, pros for Chessable. Spaced repetition helps retention. This is, I think, a pretty much proven scientific fact that spaced repetition can help you retain knowledge. It's easy to follow when they have the structured courses laid out for you, right? So these courses are curated in a way you can follow right through. And it's good for drilling ideas and variations, right? So any sort of drilling where you just want to keep repeating, that's a strength of Chessable. Now, what are the cons? Time consuming to finish the large courses. I know this from experience. I have the Keep It, I think it was called Keep It Simple 1D4. And I have one of the lifetime repertoires. In the lifetime repertoire, I couldn't even put a dent in it. It was so many lines. I had the Magnus Carlsen Sveshnikov Sicilian course, and I tried to play the Sveshnikov for a while, but it was so overwhelming, the number of lines. I couldn't play enough games to actually kind of retain the knowledge I learned. And then I found myself like pausing variations and stopping variations short so I didn't have to memorize as many moves. And then I would get variations wrong and I would just feel bad about the opening. So it's very time consuming. Number two, it can feel like passive memorization. So we talked about this earlier. You could have 18 moves deep memorized in the Sveshnikov Sicilian from the black side. You reach move 19, you still are in this wild tactical position and you don't know what to do. You don't know the plans, and your opponent's been playing games and learning that way, and they just know what to do in those positions. So Chessable alone can feel like passive memorization, and there's an opportunity cost for the time you spend on chess, right? So you could say, oh, well, I'm going to do Chessable and play games. Well, that time that you're spending on Chessable, some of that could be used for playing games. That's the point. So it's time consuming to just use Chessable. You could split that into other activities like playing games and reviewing them, for example. Or going into ChessBase and diving deep into master games and thinking, well, what if I do this? And, well, here's the move I think my opponent would play. Let's plug that in. Okay, what would I do here? Well, I have a couple ideas. I can't really tell what's best. Let me toggle on Stockfish. Oh, Stockfish says I can do this and this. Okay, let's turn off Stockfish. What if my opponent does this and this? What do I think from there? That's the type of stuff that I want you guys to do. That's how you really learn an opening. And then the last thing is little integration with your actual games. You're going to study a lot of lines that you may never, ever see in any of your games. And you're going to find that the longer the course is, the more lines that course has, the more just junk you're going to memorize. And junk might be a harsh word, but the point is you are just memorizing things to memorize things. That's not really helping you understand the positions as well unless you go super slow. They have a lot of text. They talk about plans. But for the most part, when people are doing Chessable, it's to gamify the system. Click, 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 click. Can I memorize? Click, click, click. That's all it is. You want to be able to integrate what you learn, your opening research, with what you face in games. So here's how I would use Chessable. Use Chessable only for key positions or tactic triggers. This can be done in a couple different ways. There is an option in Chessable to link it up to chess.com, I know. You can have it search for blunders. You could create a file of positions that you have trouble with, put those into Chessable. Or you could upload, for example, the whole Caro-Kann ChessGoals course into Chessable. And that note below says, we have files with instructions on how to do that. You could pause all the variations. So if you have 100 Caro-Kann variations, set them all to pause. And then, as you see a line come up that you struggle with, or that you think you may want to consistently review, unpause it. Now, the nice thing about that is instead of 100 lines, which is already fairly manageable, if you wanted to learn that all in Chessable, it's possible. You can do it. But maybe you only are studying 20 lines. And you just want to have those 20 lines down cold, but the other 80 lines, it's okay if you don't always make the exact move. You know the ideas. Some of them are calm positions. Multiple moves are completely fine. So that's what I want you guys to do. Use Chessable for your key positions. Now, if you just really enjoy memorizing moves, that's fine. But keep in mind that that's time that you could spend on other chess activities. So here's what we want to focus more time on. Understanding the quick start videos, playing your games, updating your files. So now the question for you guys is, have you tried the Caro-Kann course quizzes? So this is not the tactics course. This is within the ChessGoals Caro-Kann course. We have 5 quiz questions for almost all of the chapters. So I think it's about 50 quiz questions. And they're multiple choice, but what it does is it gets you thinking about the 5 most critical positions, in my opinion, for each of those chapters. And I think that's a more efficient way than trying to drill 100 full lines in Chessable. So let me know in the chat, have you tried those Caro-Kann quiz questions yet? Samaresh is saying, I'm currently 1800 blitz in Lee chess. I don't want to play longer games. Can I improve my blitz rating to 2000? Yes, you can. And Samaresh, I would say look at the ChessGoals blueprint. It's a free ChessGoals course. And follow the advanced study plan. Dennis is saying, no, you have not tried the quiz questions. And my plan is to add quiz questions to both the E4 course and the Dynamic Slav course. So that'll be part of this initiative that I'm doing, getting more content for those 3 courses. All right, next, choose your platform. So this is for doing your opening analysis. You can either use ChessBase, which I like a lot. I've been using ChessBase. I think Dennis, who's in the chat, bought me my first copy of ChessBase back when I was, I don't even know, elementary school, maybe middle school, Dennis. You can remind me. I've used ChessBase forever, and I really like ChessBase. That's how I feel best when it comes to exploring things. And we've had a lot of requests to do a full live class on ChessBase, and I think we will do that at some point because so many people have mentioned it. But ChessBase gives you full control. There's a lot of power behind it and a lot of options. Lee Chess Study, it's a free option. It's very flexible. There are some downsides to it. You can only have so many chapters. Also, when you change something in Lee Chess, it just sort of auto saves, and it's not easy to go back if you accidentally delete or mess something up. Chess.com library, it's simple and it's visually appealing, but it's not as fast as the Lee Chess Study, and it's not as powerful as ChessBase. So I would say chess.com is kind of in between. Like you open up individual files, you edit them, and then you click save, similar to ChessBase, but you don't have all the options of ChessBase. And one option in particular that I really miss in chess.com is the null move or the threat key, where you see what would the engine do if it was the same side to move again. So you kind of pretend it's not your move. You switch which side moves. That's a nice feature that ChessBase and Lee Chess both have. So which platform do you currently use for openings? Put your answer in the chat. And if you don't currently use one, you could put that too and put which you would like to use. Dennis is saying, really? Yeah. I think it was for my birthday, Dennis. You got me my first version of ChessBase. I remember that. And I feel like ChessBase looks very similar to how it looked back in the 90s too. Like they add features, but the core components are almost always the same. So we have a question, do you have Chessable courses for ChessGoals courses? So what we have right now, chessgoals.com, that has all of our video courses. You can download the videos. You can download all the PGN files. There's bonus content for all of them. Lifetime access to the course, community access. You can access the coaches. But then we also have instructions on how to upload those PGNs into Chessable. So Chessable, you can create your own private courses. You can use our ChessGoals courses to upload them that way. Let's see. So Dennis is saying ChessBase. Chris is saying ChessBase, but the file is a mess. Matt is saying, I've done some stuff in Lee Chess, but I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Mohammed is saying ChessBase. Matt has ChessBase. Lee Chess, ChessBase. Okay, it's kind of surprising how many people are using ChessBase, but I like that. All right, so now let's look at a couple examples. We'll do a quick live demo here. So this is a Lee Chess study. So how you get to the Lee Chess study is you mouse over Learn and you click Study. And from there, what you can do is you can hit the plus icon and do Create New Study, create the study, and then you can import what's called a PGN file. And a PGN file is just going to be a text file that has all of your moves, and it recognizes certain brackets. And based on those brackets and line breaks, it puts them into chapters. So for the Caro Kann, like I was telling you guys, I created this new file. It's the quick start file. And what it does is it just has a few moves for every chapter. So for example, chapter 1, There's only one line here. It only goes 4 moves deep. So what I want you to do is create a file like this, and you can either use the ones that I'm creating for these 3 courses, or you can simply build your own, and it's a useful tool. You can create the different chapters for your course or for your repertoire and put in just the core moves. What makes this a Caro-Kann advance with 4c3? That's the name of the chapter. Well, this is Caro-Kann. That's the advance. And then we're playing c5 for our repertoire, and they go c3. As soon as they go c3, boom, that puts us into chapter 1. We're going to play one more move, our recommendation, knight c6, and we're going to stop right there. Now for chapter 2, advance others, we have Caro-Kann, and then here's the advanced variation with e5, our recommendation, and now we're looking at the other moves for white. So you can see the different options here. D takes c5, pawn c4, pawn f4, and knight f3. Each of those I have entered, and then I put one more move for black for each of them. So like here we're going e6. They go f4, we're going to take. If they go c4, we're going to take. And if they go knight f3, we're going to take. So that's the core file for chapter 2. Then you repeat that for all of your chapters in the course. Now here's how it'll look in chess.com. In chess.com, you would want to mouse over where it says more on the left-hand side, and then go to library. So in Lichess, it's called a study. In chess.com, it's called a library. And then you can add a new library and import that PGN, just like you do in Lichess. And when I have this live class as a course, there's going to be a little more in-depth instructions on exactly like, here's what to click, here's the screenshots of how it looks, but it's pretty straightforward. So within this library, the Caro Quick Start library, you can see the outline, and then here's the chapters. Chapter 1, that's the advance with 4c3. You might be wondering, why is this such a small little preview window? It's because this is just your overview of all the chapters. If you want to dive in and change things, you need to click Analyze down below. And that'll open up a new tab. And from here, you can start to analyze all the moves, just like we saw in the Lichess study. And then if you want to add a move in chess.com, so for example, let's say we want to look at bishop e3, you enter it, it makes a new variation, and then my webcam's in the way, but there's this green save button right below. You click save. Now if I go back and refresh, we get a chess.com error. That's kind of funny. I go back and refresh, that'll be saved there. So there's, let's see, advance others. I don't know why it's doing that. That's kind of funny though. But that's how you save it. All right, let's get this back. And this live class is sponsored by chess.com. Okay, now the last option is ChessBase. Okay, so I'm pulling that up now. ChessBase is definitely ugliest looking. You know, if you're used to pretty web browser layouts, you're not going to find this the most attractive. But this is the ChessBase window where you open up the PGN file, and it's going to show you all these different lines. Hey, Richard, good to see you too. So this will show you all the chapters. And then if you double click one of these chapters, that opens up this new window. And what I love about ChessBase is you have all these different options that you can do. You can add a kibitzer that adds the engine. You can go to view and add a reference search. That allows you to search other players' games, all the different stats. You can add an opening book, and you can change how everything's laid out. You can customize it exactly how you want it. There's so much power that you have in ChessBase. So I think for exploring openings, ChessBase is really nice. Another thing that I love about ChessBase, let me close this one and open a chapter with a few more lines. They have this option up top called the table option. And as you build out your file, the table is a really clean way to look at everything. So if you have 10 different lines and each of those lines have 10 moves, this table is going to show you like 100 cells, and you can click on any of them quickly and see the text. And then what I would recommend is, as you're building this file, if any of your chapters reach 10 moves. So let's say in the Caro-Kann exchange variation, the Chess Goals course has one chapter with 10 lines. But yours is going to start with one chapter with one line. But maybe you play enough games that you've reached over 10 lines in your Caro-Kann exchange chapter. At that point, I would recommend splitting it into two. Have an exchange part 1 and exchange part 2, and maybe there's one defining move. Like this is the exchange when they do whatever move on move 6. And then when they do other moves on move 6, that's the part 2 exchange. But you can tell based on the table how many lines it has at a very quick glance, because the text will start to get super busy at that point. So that's what I really like about ChessBase, is just the amount of flexibility and the control that you have. And then the additional option of looking at this table view, I think is really, really nice for openings. All right, so let's close out ChessBase. Let's go back to our slides. Dogs barking in the background. Must be delivery. I think I heard UPS. There's like a certain UPS rumble. All right. So now, free downloads. Yeah, Dennis is saying FedEx. Exactly, Dennis. Richard's saying ChessBase is also expensive. This is true, Richard. But the nice thing with ChessBase is you pay for it one time. And even though they'll update ChessBase like once a year, from version to version, nothing really changes in ChessBase. The tweaks are so small, unless you're a professional trying to maximize everything you can gain out of ChessBase. There's no reason that you need to get every version. So that's the nice thing about ChessBase. Okay, so free downloads. Here's what you're going to get when we put this into a course. The 3 starter repertoire files, setup guides for ChessBase, Lichess, and chess.com, and printable PDF file with the 5-step checklist that we talked about for how to learn your openings. So if you want those, type yes in the chat, and I will send out the starter files later today. So if you want those starter repertoire files to get going before this course is produced, put yes in the chat. Okay, Dennis is saying yes. Matt is saying yes. Chris is saying yes. Dick is saying yes. Many days go by, yes. Richard, yes. So as long as you put your name in the Google form, or I'm sorry, not your name, your email address in the Google form for today's class, you will get these files. If you did not use a Google form to find this class, like say you just found it on YouTube, send me an email. It's matt@chessgoals.com. I'm typing it in the chat. I will make sure you get the files. If not today, you'll get them tomorrow. So this is something where I'm hoping we can get a whole bunch of people going on these 3 classes. So the E4, the Caro-Kann, and the Dynamic Slav. Now, this is the special offer that I hinted at just for today only. If you go on chessgoals.com, we have all of our courses for sale. Some courses are for free. Like the quick start opening courses, those are free. That's the 1 hour each. But the full courses cost money. And for today only, we have this starter bundle, which is a $139 bundle. That includes 1 E4, $69 value, Caro-Kann, $79 value, Dynamic Slav, $69 value. You get all the PGNs, the quick start videos, the full chapter videos. PGNs are downloadable, videos are downloadable. You get access to the community. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like the courses, you get access to me as the instructor. And also, if you buy just for today, When I see your order come through, I will add to your account the CaroCon Middle Game course, $49 value, the CaroCon Tactics course, $39 value. So that's $305 worth of courses for $139. But then also, just for today only, and this feels like a QVC ad, extra $40 off if you add the coupon code extra40 at the checkout. So the reason I'm doing all this is I want to get as many people as possible right off the bat going on these 3 courses. These were the most popular, these are the best sellers, and these are the courses that I'm going to keep adding a bunch of content going forward, both on YouTube and bonus content for the courses themselves, because I want to get you guys learning these systems down cold as quickly as possible. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat for this starter repertoire bundle. Richard is saying, Matt, I already have your 1e4 opening for white. So if you already have one of the courses, email me and we could work out something where maybe you get a different price. So just send me an email, Richard. We can figure something out. But this is for today only. Or if you email me today, that'll count because we'll get it worked out. But hopefully this kickstarts you guys on your opening progress track. So thank you and next steps. Thanks for attending. The replay link for this course on YouTube is the same link for what you're watching today. There will be a course version of this coming soon with extra downloadable content, and it will be split into nice chapters and things where you can kind of watch it at your own pace, watch it on your phone, watch it on your computer, etc. And then we also have a $9 course that just came out today. So you guys are the first ones to hear about it. And this is based on a prior live stream that we did on analyzing games. But that $9 course has bonus content as well. So there's takeaway files where you can download them. And it's the files that we looked at during the course. And you can use those files to help you with game analysis. So if you want to go check that out, there's a new $9 course called Study Smarter, How to Review Your Own Games. Then the question below the video is a reminder for me. It's asking you guys, did Matt drop the starter repertoire link in the chat from the last slide? And yes, I did. courses.chessgoals.com/bundle/starter repertoire. It's a long one, but yes, I did. Okay, so that was the last slide. 59 minutes in. It was planned for 1 hour, pretty much right on the dot. Still 22 people watching. So I'd also appreciate if you guys are going to, start an opening journey today. And let's say you have chess friends that you think may be interested in joining you on the chess opening journey. Send them a link to this video or send them a link to the courses with this deal, because you can do the class together, right? You can go through it at the same time, bounce ideas off each other. It's one of the best ways to learn is to have a chess study buddy. All right, so let me know in the chat any other questions. It can be about learning openings or chess in general, or pickleball questions are always accepted if you guys play pickleball. Any other general questions before we wrap up today's class? And also, what topic do you want to look at next? You can either put that in the chat or let me know via email or Discord. I know the chess-based topic has been mentioned, I think 3 or 4 times already. Like, I've even been asked in person to do a chess-based class. Matt is saying, thanks a lot. When do you switch from basic development to learning openings? I think that transition, Matt, is probably close to the 700 or 800 level. I don't think you need to go super deep on openings below 800, but you can definitely still take one of the courses and learn the openings. But I would say it's more important to go through like a beginner move by move course, for example, and learning more of the basics of openings. Because what you're going to find is your opponents aren't going to follow very deeply along any of those course lines. So it's not as efficient to memorize the lines as it is to just kind of know the general ideas. So you could get the opening course, watch the videos, have all the ideas floating around in your head, and then just see what your opponents do in games without really focusing too much on memorizing. Okay, many days go by. Thank you. Mark, thanks for watching. Dennis, thanks for watching. Dennis was voting for chess-based classes. Chris, thank you for watching. And I'm going to try to keep doing more live classes as well. I want to keep the momentum going. So it's going to require you guys letting me know some new topics so I don't run out of ideas, and letting your friends know about the classes and showing up yourselves. Because the more people that show up, the more incentive there is to keep doing them. All right, Dick is going to try the Caro-Kann. Perfect. And I'm going to be working on those 3 courses myself: E4, Caro-Kann, and Dynamic Slav. More content coming soon, especially on YouTube. All right, I think let's see. Richard's saying, sad I came late, but better late than never. Best wishes. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, thanks for coming, Richard. All right, I think we will wrap up there. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and good luck with the openings. Get started right now. Do one thing with your openings right now before you do anything else. That kind of goes back to the building chess habits. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody.